Uh-oh.
Okay,
Is
there
that
we
it?
go. All right, y'all. We are live. I'm sorry. I have talked for like 5 minutes. Little do y'all know. We're about to do this all over again. We had a little technical
Right.
difficulty, but this is Get Off My Lawn Live. Y'all missed the reproof. You seen it last week. You know it's the same thing. I ain't changed it yet. Nonetheless, we're about to get straight into it today. We are talking to teachers and parents alike about this subject that you see here at the bottom of the screen. Reopening our schools. Is it too soon? That is the subject for today's show, the main one at least. We want to get into that because we want to hear from you, the people. So we also will have this number for you guys to call so you can give us your opinions on what we should be doing here in terms of our teachers and students and whatnot, because I want to hear from you guys as well. But like I said, you have missed the intro, so let me do them yet again. Right here we have Miss Barbara Grant. She is a parent and she is
Hi.
a former alumni of Cody High School along with myself, along with this young lady
Woo-hoo.
here,
That's right.
Latrice.
Comment all day.
You knew her if you went to school with us as Latrice Williams. She is now Latrice Dawkins, but she is also Mrs. Dawkins to her proud students because she is a teacher and also a parent, even though, as we mentioned before, her child is a little bit older, but she still can speak on it as a parent because once a parent, always a parent, 24
That's
hours
right.
a day, lifetime job, you know what it is. With
Yes.
that being said, I am not a parent, but y'all know I have educated folks and I've done a little bit of this virtual teaching myself, so I can kind of give you a little small perspective at least. And for those of you who have other perspectives, by all means, we're gonna use that number right there. Y'all call on in and let us know what you think about it. So let's get into it, y'all. The subject: reopening our schools. Is it too soon? Now I'm going to go to you first, Latrice, because you are the teacher and you have been working. Kind of give us a little overview of what's going on in your world and how you're dealing in terms of this right now.
Well, currently, I am virtual. I teach virtually. I've been virtual since September. I chose not to go into the classroom. With the pandemic, I had family members who were, infected with COVID-19. My parents, to be exact, who are in their 80s.
Wow.
Um, so it's been a struggle because I've had, this it's personal for me. Um, so I elected to stay virtual. Um, and if they give us additional time, I will continue to stay virtual. I have family members to
Uh-uh.
be 13.
Yeah, go ahead. That was me. All right, go
Oh,
ahead.
okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'll continue to stay virtual, until I feel that it is more safe. Meaning, right now, I think we are getting there with the vaccine being out and just getting people to take it. More people are opening up to taking it because at first, I myself was like, I'm not going to take it. But now, my mind has changed. So eventually, I do plan to get the vaccine.
All
But I
right.
think we need a little more time. If things had been done properly from the beginning, we would not be here.
Very true.
But it was not. So now we are here. Yes, are the kids behind? Yes, they are suffering. Yes, they are behind. But we're behind just like the rest of the world is behind.
Absolutely. And I got so many questions to ask off of that. But before we go there, I want to talk to Barbara now. Barbara, kind of give us a little quick perspective of what's going on your end as a parent. What are you doing?
Well, I believe that I think it's time for the kids to get back at school. I do have personal um I don't know the word I'm looking for, but my godparents was affected with COVID-19, and my godfather almost passed away. My nephew also had COVID-19. So I do believe that it is a real disease, and I also believe that it's very dangerous too. But I also feel that it has been a year and the numbers are going down. And I believe the kids are used to the mask and they understand about the mask. Every time I go anywhere, and I've been everywhere, Okay. And I see the kids with their parents and they have the mask on. They're not playing with them. They're not, eating, even the babies. I see them out there and the parents are on them, dealing diligently about keeping their mask on, which I haven't really seen a problem with it. But I feel as if there has been enough time to where it's time for them to go back. But if it's people that, don't want to go back, like you said, some can still do at home. You know what I mean? And then for the ones that did get the vaccine and, or already have it, even though I'm not sure if you can get infected again with COVID after you had the vaccine. But, a lot of them, they're trying to make precautions to make it safe for us. We have the sanitizer, we have the Lysol, we have the mask that they're giving away. I know a lot of the kids are suffering. My kids that I'm dealing with right now totally are suffering. My granddaughter has went through 3 computers. The internet seems to be giving her problems. She gets booted out the classrooms a lot. It seems like it's just a lot of problems. And then if I'm not down there on her, then she really gets distracted. You know what I mean? And start
Okay,
playing and
now
start
hold on.
doing
Before
this.
you dig too deep in that, two things. One, I do want you to get into that a little bit more, but I also want to invite our other guests here this evening. Good evening, good evening. How
Good
are
evening.
you? Thank you for
Fine.
being
How are
here.
you?
Hi.
This, my friends, is another educator that we have invited to give their perspective. Could you give everyone your name, please, and give us a quick overview of what you're doing right now?
Crystal Coburn, and what I'm doing now, I teach. Actually, I'm teaching preschool now.
Okay, now are you teaching virtually or are you doing in class teaching?
I teach virtually.
Okay, and so
Yes.
for how long have you been doing that now?
Actually, since the pandemic started in March,
Oh,
when the governor when the governor shut it down, I think she shut it down like March 15 or so.
Hmm.
Yes,
That is correct.
okay.
yes.
So
Yes.
yeah, like I said, keep in mind all these people here that you see, we are in Michigan. So I know some of their experiences is different than what some of you guys out there are dealing with. So I definitely want to hear from you guys also. Like I said, I'm going to put the number back up for you guys to call in if you want to. And if not, then you can always join in the comments and let us know your opinions in regards to some of what you're hearing or what's being said. But like I said, me myself, I am not, of course, a teacher nor a parent. But however, I do have a couple people in my life who I help to nurture. I will say that. Bottom line, I am not a parent, but I am a godfather to a few and uncle to many. So I kind of have an idea how some of this is going in terms of some of the parents. And of course, I have good friends like my friend Latrice down there, others who are educators. So I kind of get some of their perspective as well. One of the people that could not join me this evening, hopefully she'll pop in the comment if she gets a minute. She let me know that she's down there in Texas. And in Texas is a whole different ball of wax than what's being dealt with here. For the most part, most of the teachers down there, they are being required to go and do some form of in-class learning, period, whether it's just for a couple days or whatnot. And then if you're not able to do so, you have to have some type of medical reason or something to that effect as to why you are unable. So that's part of what she's dealing with down there in Texas. Keep in mind, Texas has had none of the lockdowns and things that we've had here in Michigan. You know, they've only shut down like certain things during like the beginning of the pandemic. As things opened up, that being a Republican state, mind you, they have been less basically less likely to shut anything down, truthfully, but schools in particular. And then of course you have the different school districts and how they deal with all of that. My friend she is in the San Antonio district, if I remember correctly. So she's dealing with that from that perspective. So like I said, if you in the comments, by all means chime on in. Let us know what you think for a quick second if you get a minute. But that being said, as you see, we got different perspectives, and I want everybody kind of go into a little deep dive as to what they're dealing with. Let me address some of the comments first here before we do that. Hey, H2, Helena Hologram from Hey Bitches is in the house on vacation from the show right now, but of course, check in and check us out. Hey, Miss Red, that's Miss Red in the house. And then, of course, Helena is saying hello. She's chilling like a villain because she's on vacation. Should be. Okay. Miss Red is saying, yes, I think they open schools too soon. Here in Henry County, which is down there in Georgia, I believe, One teacher has passed away from COVID, and both elementary and high school has been sending me messages about a student who tested positive. So my kids, until further notice, are on online classes. And then, of course, that's part of what we're dealing with. And the problem I'm seeing more than anything else is because one, when that orange fool was in charge and caused all that confusion in regards to what we should do, what we shouldn't do, not allowing the people that study these things and know the numbers to speak, and wanted to have his press conferences and his 15 minutes in the sun instead, we didn't get a full understanding of what we should be doing, what we shouldn't be doing. Remember, early on during the pandemic, the CDC put out these outlines as to how we should deal with COVID, where they basically said, okay, if you have COVID, you're supposed to isolate yourself for 14 days. Anybody's been around you, they should isolate themselves as well, and what have you. But part of the issue is that, of course, these schools are open. We people has COVID, maybe even two. Ideally, anybody that's around them should be quarantined. So basically, if those two people are in the same class, that whole class should quarantine. If basically other people have been in contact with them, anybody in there, they should quarantine, at least according to those CDC guidelines. But remember, that was the initial CDC guidelines. They've changed this thing about 5-6 times. Keep in mind, this week they plan on coming with some different guidelines as to how to proceed with the school thing. So that's part of the thing right now. There's so much confusion as to how we want to address this thing. A second thing is the fact that every state seems to have their own little way of doing this. Again, I blame the previous administration because he put it on the governors and the mayors to figure this thing out the best way they can. And, he just was hands off for a while. But then when he wanted to become involved, he only wanted to become involved in bits and pieces. And that led to everybody kind of making their own rules and dealing with their thing their own way, which is confusion also. So, like I said, that's part of why we're having this discussion right now, because what applies for here doesn't necessarily apply for some of the other places where the show is being viewed right now. So, like I said, I definitely want you guys, if you have any opinions, please chime on in. Again, there's the number for you to call. If you feel comfortable enough calling and talking about it. If not, like I said, you can join us in the comments and discuss. But let me get back to our guests now and talk to them about some of what they're thinking. Okay, hold on. I got one more comment before we do that. Okay, she's saying, here's the kicker. Now, they started letting kids back in school, starting with the last names. They go maybe about 2 to 3 days out of the week, then switch it out. This is in Georgia. Yeah, that's what I thought. And, of course, Georgia is one of the top 10 states in the country right now in terms of COVID positivity. So there's that. Meanwhile, here, our numbers are a lot better. For example, let me show you guys this right quickly before we move on. These are the numbers as they stand now. If you notice, there was that big spike right there around October when the winter months started. And that's when we had the pause here in Michigan where they shut down a lot of things and, kind of trimmed the amount of folks that could go here and there. As you see, we have gone significantly smaller since that time. But of course, now we have started to open things back up. And the concern is that on the one hand, we're doing a lot better. But on the other hand, we have all these different variances that are far more contagious. And they're concerned that that would lead to a whole nother spike. So that being said, I'm going to go to you right here, Chris. I want to know from your perspective, what are you seeing in terms of what your students are learning? Do you feel like they're getting anything out of the online? What are some of the deficiencies that we're not getting right now?
Well, currently I'm teaching preschool, so this would be my students' actual first experience with school. Mm-hmm. So it's definitely different because of the routines and the things that they would see in comparison to some of them not even coming to the building, for example, to even see the classroom.
Okay.
So it's definitely different, but I can honestly say that I do see a lot of progress with my students in terms of their language skills, in terms of them just being able to communicate with the other students on the computer screen, and then also in regard to their literacy. So in the beginning, they were speaking maybe 1 or 2 words at a time, and I can see some of them are gradually increasing to actually making sentences, speaking in correct sentence form, and just picking up the basic essentials. Would be the recognizing their name and being able to spell it. And some of them are so good they're spelling other people's names and writing those things and just the basics.
Okay.
They are.
Yeah,
They
now
are.
I find it interesting because, like I said, you're teaching basically the young ones. So,
Yeah.
of course, unless you got a couple geniuses in your class, I imagine most of them need help logging in and getting set up in the computer. Do you find yourself having to like kind of bring them on back in the class? Like, okay, everybody settle down and pay attention and that type. Do you see you having those types of problems?
I do, but what I also noticed too, every parent base is different. So my parents are very responsible, and they're really into their students' education. So the majority of my parents, they sit right next to their children while learning is taking place. So that's a huge help.
Okay. Now
Absolutely.
that being said, let me ask you that same question, Latrice. What
Mhm.
is some of your experiences in terms of your students, and what do you teach and what grade and all that good stuff?
I'm down with the babies too now. So
Mhm.
um I surprisingly, I definitely am seeing student growth. I was nervous prior to this challenge because at the end of the school year last year, we knew the children. This was a whole new set
Mhm.
of children.
Mhm.
I've taught, I think the younger kids are doing better as far
Mhm.
as being more cooperative than than the older kids, than the middle school kids, who's been in school for a while. So I think that's where the challenges are, are happening more so than the babies. You're right, because the parents are there with the little ones, they're helping them, and you'll be surprised. Like I have the little ones, and they know how to use the mute, they know how to do
They
the
do.
video, they have
Yeah.
learned.
They
So
do.
Yeah.
it's
They
not
have. Mhm.
difficult to teach the little ones, to do that. But I think the challenges are with the older kids, more so than the babies. Um, the only thing, the social skills is probably
Mhm.
the most concern with the little ones, is being able to socialize, because that's where they learn those skills. They learn
Okay.
them at the very young, you know, age, and they're missing that part of it. But
Okay. Okay. Now, Barbara, how many kids do you have doing virtual learning right now? What's some of your experiences with what they're going through?
Too, but I was more interested in listening to the teachers, and I want to know, did you have any problems in the beginning when you first started with it? Was the computer problems, or I mean, do you prefer home better than being in the classroom? Do you think it's better?
At
oh,
the, are you saying in general or at this time?
In general, in general.
oh
I'm
no.
just saying in general. Like if you had a choice, would you rather be able to do it from home, or do you think you would have it'll be better if you was in the classroom, in their faces, with the chalkboard and all the other stuff?
I've been really thinking about that, and I think that due to COVID, I think that definitely that there needs to be a shift in terms of how we're doing education, because everyone is not going to be successful in the old traditional way with you going to school and sitting there with the teacher for 8 hours. So I'm hoping that there will be a time when we can say, okay, well, you get to choose which type of education would you like. But do you want virtual, or do you want that traditional brick and mortar school? That's what my hope is, because
Right.
because what I think has happened during COVID is that for what I can see, for the parents that are truly engaged and can engage, because some
Hmm.
parents can't, they want to but they can't. So what
Right.
I see is that you actually understand, what we need the kids to learn, because you see it every single day, versus, when a lot of times when you communicate with the parents or they have time to communicate with you, it's just so more so, doing parent teacher conference or things like that. So now I can speak to you every day and you can actually see where I'm going with this. I have a lot more communication, and then you'll say things and I'll say things, and you'll tell me things about the children so I can learn about them to better help them.
Well,
So
have you had any experiences with any older kids, or have some of the people that you associate that teaches older kids? How was their experiences? Have they told you anything like that?
almost definitely we have those
Is it
conversations every
vastly
day.
different?
Yeah,
We do.
you're ahead of me on that, Barbara. That was my next question. I know teachers
Yeah,
and whatnot.
I am very interested in listening to the people that
Yes.
actually deal with the children. See,
Mhm,
and that's another problem that I have personally because I always put people like that that can communicate with a child's
Mhm.
mind on a certain level because I
Mhm.
can't do that. I rather
Okay.
take old people over kids any
Mhm.
day. I just don't have that skill. And I
Right.
Okay.
really think it's a gift, that you
mhm,
get to have the patience and to understand how to
Mhm.
communicate and to get the information through to the
Mhm.
child. So that's why I'm basically interested on what you're thinking. Of course,
Mhm.
I'm ready for them to go back to school. They're getting on my last nerves. I don't
Right.
understand. The
and,
computer is getting on my nerves. I can't find my glasses. What am I supposed to do? I mean,
and
Oh,
then
yes,
there's
yes.
that. Now, let me get into that for a minute because see, I think that is part of what the issue is. Some parents they like to be parents to a degree. They have
Yeah.
gone all these years with having their kid be like, okay, get your booty up,
Mhm.
out the door.
Yes.
Now I got 8
Mhm.
hours where I can do this
Yes.
Mhm.
and deal with you when you get back. And now suddenly you're in a situation where like I need a break from you. I got to
Mhm.
get you out my face. Y'all driving
Mhm.
me crazy. So I know that's part of why some parents at least like send these kids to school. Period.
Yes.
True.
Safe, not safe, what have you. But other parents are just looking at it like, okay, I'm looking at my baby, and he be looking out the window like, and he looks so sad
Yeah.
and miserable. He misses little friends. This virtual thing, that ain't the same. I just want my baby to be happy. I want to send them to school so they can play with their little friends and have their little life. So there's that. I mean, in terms of what you guys are seeing, I mean, like, I don't know. Are you a parent, Chris?
No, no,
Okay.
no.
So basically, for the parents in the room, do you see where that would be an issue with some of the kids? I mean, in other words, Barbara, in particularly, do you talk to your child, and what are some of the things they're telling you in regards to how they're coping with this thing?
Well, my grandson, which is 8 years old, he's not really having a problem. He's able to get into class and he's able to talk to the teachers and communicate. But the younger one, the 6 year old, is the one that I seem to have a problem with, and it's not due to her. Not paying attention. It's more or less the computer problems trying to get into. She's not getting her
Mhm.
iReadies done. You know what I
Oh,
mean? It seems like she's going, then when she gets, I'm
hey,
not
Tracy.
down there. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, no, I'm just saying hi to Tracy. He's joining the
Oh,
show. One of our
you
Nighthawk
know,
MVPs. Appreciate you, Tracy. Go ahead.
and luckily here, she goes to a wonderful public school, and her teacher and even the principal, I caught them. They know me by name because I couldn't get the computer to work. She had to finish her
Mhm.
iReady by 4 o'clock, and wasn't none of that getting done. She had to get on a bigger computer. I mean, they know me. So, and now that I'm taking a little bit more interest in it, I'm starting to learn how to do it myself. And
Mhm.
I set the room up like a classroom. So one is on one side, one is on the other side, to where they're concentrating on what they're doing.
Okay.
You know what I mean? But I have to be down there all the time.
Mhm.
Mm.
Okay, now see, here's the thing though. Okay, and I've been talking to people for weeks now, trying to set up this show to see if they can come on or whatnot. Some of them are just too busy. One person in particular, I know you're watching though. I definitely got to put your situation out here. This young lady has 6 children. 4 and 2 is separated. In other words, 4 of the kids go to one school, 2 of the kids go to another school. So there's that. Basically, they all are doing online learning. And it's such an issue that they had to actually get an extra internet box put in the house so that they would have enough Wi-Fi to get everybody situated. Also, keep in mind, her husband and herself are both at home working as well. And it's to the point where he goes in the garage and they have another Wi-Fi just to accommodate him. So they're paying all this extra money. Somehow they got some of it supplemented, which was good, but they got all that going on. First of all. Second of all, the 2 older children, they're athletes. So they're actually going to school part-time to get their athletic stuff going on. But beyond that, they are doing the virtual learning. The other four kids, they are doing a little half and half where they go a couple days a week for in-class learning and then do the rest of the week that way. Bottom line, much respect to you. Much respect because I couldn't have did all that.
This
And,
pandemic hit a
and
lot of
keep in
people
mind,
really
all
hard.
her children, from what she says, are on
It's
the
a
honor roll
struggle.
right now. So
It's
she,
definitely a struggle.
It
Oh
It's
is.
yeah, definitely.
it's a struggle, and it is difficult, especially with the technology. Sometimes it's not, but no one was prepared for this. The
Right,
schools weren't prepared for this.
right.
So that's why, we do have a lot of kids that have
Mhm.
problems getting on, and the computer is acting up, but
Mhm.
it's because no one was prepared. They were given or donated
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
those computer tablets to use, and when they break, they're like, oh well, only
Right.
the school ones that they fix, the ones that belong to the school.
Well,
But
may I ask you guys a question?
Well,
Have
hold
any
on,
of you
Barbara.
traveled?
Hold on, Barbara. Before you go there, I want to take a little break. But after we get back, I want you to ask your question, and then I definitely want to get into this comment that Helena got into because that's a very key component in this thing. But anyway, before we do that, let me take a quick commercial break. Everybody take a sip of water and whatnot. This is Get Off My Lawn Live. Here are all my beautiful special guests. We are talking about schools. Reopening them. Is it too soon? We will be right back at the word from my fine sponsors. What's up, everybody? Eric Buckner here. You know Miss EB, Young Easy, Eric Buck, all that good stuff. Anyway, I'm here to kick it with y'all about this little podcast I've been doing. I talk trending topics. I talk about the stuff we as people need to talk about. I talk about some things actually that people kind of want to shy away from because we got to have these discussions, folks. That's how we get better. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, hold on. Yeah, so anyway, I do it Tuesdays, 8:30 p.m. You can check it out on Facebook, on YouTube. It's a good show. I say get into it. Yeah, you want to know the name of the show? You said, hold on. Hey, you, get off my lawn. Yeah, anyway, that's the name of the show, by the way. Get off my lawn. Check it out Tuesdays, 8:30 p.m. Let me go handle this. I'll be out. Night Network presents Pastor Sean Love. Pastor Sean Love, devoted father and husband, a residing pastor at the River Ridge Bible Assembly in River Ridge, Michigan. Join him as he gives us messages from God's Word, Bible study, and encouragement. You can find him on YouTube under Sean Love.
Let's talk. Let's talk. Let's talk.
The views and opinions expressed here on Get Off My Lawn Live are those of the host or his guests and do not necessarily reflect those of the Nighthawk Network or its associates. Viewer and listening discretion is advised. What's up, everybody? We are back. This is Get Off My Lawn Live. I am your host, Eric Buck, and here we are with our fine guest. We lost one though, Miss Barbara G. Hop back in when you're ready. Meanwhile, I'm talking to two fine educators here in the state of Michigan, and we're talking about reopening the school. How can we do it? Is it too soon? Is we doing enough? We're talking about all that. Now, when we last left, Miss Barbara Grant had a question for the folks. Please ask your question now, Barbara.
Yes, I wanted. This was to everyone. Have you guys traveled at all during this pandemic?
I not on an airplane, no.
Okay. Okay. You took a
No.
road trip though.
I had to, I had a death in my family, so
Oh, I'm sorry to hear
yeah,
that.
I had to take a road trip, but I
Did that
didn't.
was they able to have a funeral?
Yeah, it was in Georgia, and yes,
Okay.
it was a funeral there.
Yeah. I'm glad you
Their
was
rules
able to
at the
go.
time was not quite as strict as ours. Yeah, but it was during the height of the pandemic, and I had to drive to Georgia.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Wow.
that's
unfortunately. Um, but I wanted to mention, I don't know, this is a little bit off, but as far as I know, you were talking about should we go back and some of the challenges. And one of the things I just wanted to bring up is with the schools and being transparent about what's really going on.
mm-hmm.
And
Right.
that's an issue for me because I know that there was a death of a student
Mm.
and no one, it was never mentioned.
I heard no such thing.
And you probably won't,
Right.
you know. I don't want to say, I
Okay.
mean,
Yeah, yeah.
but
No, say it.
No,
well,
no, don't.
it was actually from the comments from our high school.
Gotcha.
There was a death, and someone mentioned it to me, and I was like, "Oh, it's no death," but come to find out, there was a death, and it was from COVID-19. Now, I don't
Mm-hmm.
know where this person contracted the virus, but it still was someone that was in the school. I also know at the school that I am at, one of the younger students, I think maybe second grade, came to school and said, "Oh, yes, my sister had the corona." Well, why are you at school?
Exactly.
So it's, it's just things are not necessarily um, what they say. They have those thermometers when you come in, the wrist thermometers.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also health professional as well.
Okay.
I'm
It's
cold every time I walk in the building.
mm-hmm.
I'm like 97, no matter what day, what time. My temperature's always the same according
Mm.
to that machine. I,
Gotcha.
I'm not convinced that, I mean, I know they're attempting to take the proper protocols, but it's not. And the little kids, yes, they'll keep on their masks. They're more cooperative than when you're talking about the older kids.
Mm.
The older kids want to challenge you. They
Gotcha.
Mhm.
want to, you know, and yeah, I don't think that that's one of the reasons why I do not believe that it is safe at this time.
Okay. Well, hold on. I definitely want to address a couple of these comments here. Okay. Good evening, Marion. How are you? Okay. Trace saying not at all. It feels like I'm a prisoner indoors. I get it. These that should have been public knowledge. Absolutely.
Yes.
It's not too soon. Miss Brittany Gomes. You see that number? Please call. I definitely want to hear your perspective because of some of the many things that we discussed back and forth on Facebook. If you can call, please do so. I really need to hear from you. These kids everywhere else, why not be in school? And like I said, and because I know Brittany is not alone in that thought process, I know several people feel that way about it. They feel like, okay, if the kids can go out and do everything else and Chuck E. Cheese and go out to the movies and all that, why should school be any different? Okay, for the people that have to deal with this, that's not named Brittany. What do you guys think?
Right. Because it's two sides.
What do you think, Barbara? You think she's right?
Oh, you mean what I think? Oh
Yes.
no, I definitely. That's why I want to talk to the teachers because even though I want the kids to go back to school, I'm not the one dealing with all of these kids. You know what I mean? I don't know the behavior or how I don't know how it is in the classroom and why the
Hmm.
teachers feel as if they're not safe or if they feel as if they can go back to school. That's why I was interested in having this conversation with actual teachers to get their
Hmm.
perspective,
Yes.
of it.
And
And that's why I was asking about the older kids. If you talk to your colleagues, about
yeah,
how do they behave.
yes. just, and Brittany is correct. They are going everywhere, and that's part of the problem. That's
That's
part of the
right.
problem is people not being responsible. So if people are not being responsible, and then we have to suffer for it because they're not doing the right thing. You know, I mean, I know that I have other health concerns.
Okay. And like I said,
Yeah.
I ain't forget about
And
the question, Helena. I still want to get into this here. Okay, hold on. Yes, Brittany, please call now if you can. I appreciate it. But that's not safe either. Now, Helena brings up a very good point. How is this affecting the special needs students? Now, I really wish that my other educator that was unable to make the show could come on tonight because she actually is a special education teacher.
Yes.
And a lot of what she's telling me is that, yeah, it's a big time problem with the special needs kids because one, they have issues with what they had issue with to begin with. But then when you have to add in working computers and going to lessons and things like that, it's a lot harder to explain this to these people over the internet as opposed to being there in person and kind of guide them through that way. So she's having a very difficult time with
Yeah.
trying to get her students right. And she really
right.
feels like most of them are not benefiting from this online learning at all. I mean, I know you guys probably know people that are special ed teachers and whatnot. What do you think?
I have two sisters who are special needs
Mhm.
uh, teachers, both of them. It is a struggle, and it goes by case or class by class. Like you can have a good support system, you can have a good, where parents are supportive and they're helping, or you may not. So it can go both ways. I
Yeah.
have one sister that is running smoothly, another sister, not so much. So,
Okay. Hold on a minute, guys. We got a call here. Let me take this call. Hello. Who's speaking?
Hi, this is Brittany.
Hey, Brittany. Thanks for calling. Okay, yeah. Let us know your opinion on this thing, Brittany. Go ahead.
Yeah, everybody can hear me?
Can everybody hear?
Yeah.
I can
Hey,
hear.
Brittany.
Okay,
Hey,
hi. How are you ladies doing this evening?
Okay.
fine. How are you?
Okay, I'm doing fine. This is coming from an actual frontliner, healthcare worker
Mhm.
with children
Yes.
went back to school today,
Mm-hmm.
and I feel like my first thing is these kids are everywhere. First off, they're everywhere. They're in the stores with us. They're out playing with cousins, friends, aunties. They're everywhere. What
Zap
I
zone.
feel like is if we're gonna bubble these kids, why not educate them just like we're being educated so they can be out here in the world and be prepared? Because if this is reality, which is reality right now,
That's right. Cut
they
this
all
off.
need to know what's going on. My 2-year-old sits in the house with her mask on. That's how crazy it is right now. And
Yeah.
not her, it's just this is what she sees. And kids are sponges. You can teach these kids is I just feel like as long as it's a proper protocol in school, give these parents options. Don't just say, let's leave them there. Do you know how many kids are falling behind because all they're doing is watching a Zoom? They're not learning anything. These kids have no hands-on activities, and we are failing them as a whole, as adults, as being who they look up to us. So if we think reality is having them in front of a computer, because we sure wasn't taught like that. I'm sure all you ladies are where you are today because of hands-on training, because you're being on hand with these kids. Now, I'm not saying let's pile 20 to 30 kids up in one classroom. No, that's not going to work. But let's try at a minimum of 15 maybe. Make sure it's hand sanitizer or stuff at the door. So when you're at the door, as soon as you walk in the classroom, you're hand sanitizing. Let's wipe down these desks and things, as classes switch over. It's ways around this. People are making a big deal about something that can be tackled. And I'm not going to say everybody is, but this is a scary situation going on right now. Everybody is scared about what's going on. You have people dying. You have people getting sick, stuff that we're not used to. But let's be real and logic here. These are things that we have been seeing, but it wasn't being noticed. And that's my thing. It's things that have killed us way before this situation. And like I said, we just have to educate these kids. And I feel like we should not be giving these teachers an excuse to be able to lounge around at home in their pajamas and just throw a lesson plan out there and wait for kids to respond to things. That is not the way kids should be learning. Me personally, coming from a parent that's dealing with kids in Zoom, my kids are not.
No, go ahead, Brittany. Go ahead.
Oh, my kids, me personally, aren't ready for the next level. They are not ready for the next level.
I understand everything.
Let me finish hearing her out. Okay, one last thing.
I'm done.
Okay, one last thing, Brittany, before you go. Now, if I remember correctly, you're taking some online classes too right now, correct?
Yes.
Okay, well, what's your experiences with that?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm going to school for nursing, and it's hard. I know what I know because I've been in the medical field, and I'm an MA, and I've been that for over 4 years. But it is definitely hard trying to understand something. Like one of my teachers, she just throws a lesson plan out there and say, "Figure it out." Like, do you know how hard that is not to be able to ask questions, raise my hand, and know and try to learn more? I don't want to be a nurse out there jumping out there in the field and not fully hands-on educated on what I need to be doing. Just based off my experience, I still need that educational process. And I'm being basically, even though, it does get hard, I'm going to work it out, but I would love to be able to go back in school. I would actually love to be in class to learn more and know more. I can't just learn off me personally. I need to read it out loud. I need to see it there. I need to ask more questions. I'm a person that likes to talk, if you guys haven't noticed by now. So that's just me personally. And I appreciate you guys letting me talk and chime in on y'all discussion. I'm here to listen, and I don't mind feedback or anything like that.
Okay. Yeah, thank you so much for calling, Brittany. I really appreciate it. Thank you much. All right. We'll talk about what you talked about. Okay.
I'm itching to respond.
Okay. Yeah, I know. There's a lot of things said there. So, okay, let me pick first. Okay. I'm going to go with you first, Barbara. What are your thoughts on some of the things she said?
Well, I was gonna say I agree with her on most of everything that she said. The only part that I'm not with on is all of the teachers may have problems themselves. You know what I mean? They may have asthma. They may have, anything that will make them more susceptible to this disease that's going out here. So I can understand why some of the teachers don't want to go back right now. And for those teachers, I'm hoping that they may have the option to stay at home or go back into the school. But other than that, I agree with what she said. These kids are out here doing everything else, and they should be in class.
Okay, now, Latrice, I'm going to go to you next. Let me address a couple of these comments right quick. Okay, I feel like being at home could be a huge distraction, but keeping them safe should be our top priority. I just hope that they're learning to their full potential. First, nobody's prepared for this. For us to train teachers and students, true. In Maryland, 70% of our students have failed. Big Meech is saying if we do that, we need more teachers. If there's a lack of teachers, how can we do a 15-child classroom?
Yeah, I agree.
State, you have to look at things differently. And that's how the children are. Brittany agrees with you, Barbara. And okay, I rallied last week in front of the school board for all teachers and students to be vaccinated before they go back to school. That's Miss Pat. Thank you, Miss Pat, for that. Okay, Latrice, what's your thoughts on what was said?
Well, I feel bad that Brittany her children has a teacher that's sitting in her pajamas, because that is not, that's not my experience. I am actually working more or at home. I have to do more because it's a learning process with the technology. So I'm working harder at home and gained 10 pounds. But in the midst of all of that, so that's not the case. And the reality of it is, just like one of your whoever just put it in the chat box. just like they said, the reality of it is we can't just say send them back and only put 20 to a class. Where are you going to find the staff to
Exactly.
just put 20 to a class? That's not reality. Reality is it's going to be 45 in a class. Reality is the classrooms are not set up to social distance. It's
Okay.
not set up that way.
Okay. Now I'm so glad you brought that up because what I want to do now is play this little video that I've made. Basically, I looked at certain situations as to what other countries are doing to set up their classrooms to be more COVID safe. So I want to play some of these things, and I kind of want to get you guys' opinion on some of what you're going to see here. It's not a audio video. We're just going to look at some of the pictures here. So now let me stop it here. Okay, this is a classroom in South America somewhere. This right here is in India.
Mm-hmm.
Now here you see how they have the distance where you got like every other table and all the kids are spread out. But this appears to be a gymnasium that they're in, and
Mhm.
they use the gymnasium as a classroom to kind of spread everybody out. Now, does that look relatively safe to you? Do you think that's something that they could do here?
It looks safe, but reality is that's not going to be the way it won't be like that here, or at least not in the
Right.
city,
I
the
mean, because
school.
consider your average high school here has what, like 2 to 4 thousand students. How could you possibly set that up like that in a school that large?
Yeah, I mean, not in our schools now. It may be in South Lyon or somewhere else,
Mhm.
but in the city, it is not realistic. And even having the staff to do that, the staff to even and those students, the way um they're with all their masks on and they're, we're in a different setting, you know.
Okay. Now let me go a little further here. All right, hold on. Okay, now this is a setup from I believe this was Taiwan that I found this at. Here you have the students here. They're supposed to be 6 feet apart and all that good stuff. You see everyone has a mask here in this partition, and in front of it, this is where the teacher is teaching from, and the kids are spaced out this way. Do you think this would be a possibility? I would say that's probably like a classroom of what, about 25 people?
Someone else want to answer? You want to answer, Miss Cobra?
I'm looking, and so the only partitions that we have like that are in the office for the office staff.
Now, keep
When
in mind that all these funds that are supposed to be being sent by the Biden administration to all the various states right now, that's supposed to be the money that they're supposed to use to make these schools safe. So some of these
well,
things are,
the only partitions that I've seen like that again are in the office for the office staff.
that is.
So no, I've never seen that. But in regard to
Now, this right here is a lunchroom, and these partitions are separating the kids as they are eating their food. As you of course know, it's lunchtime, so nobody has on a mask. That definitely doesn't appear to be 6 feet to me. But my guess is they're all eating lunch. As you see, there are several people in that room. There has to be a good 100 folks right there. And of course, as you know, again in high school, there is no one lunch period. There's different lunch periods
right.
throughout the day. So you mean to tell me you're going to take these kids, take them all out of the room, clean everything fully, and then do a whole nother lunch in what, say 10, 20 minutes? Does that seem
No,
like something you could reasonably get done?
no,
And they don't
no.
have a mask, but it looks like they have glass partitions,
Yeah.
Glass,
Mhm.
plexiglass.
Yeah,
plexiglass between them. I mean, and then all of the kids, I don't know what, like I said, what type of setting, but we're in a large urban area and
Right.
those kids are sitting doing everything they're supposed to do. I don't know if we
Except for
would have that
eating.
same. We're a
Right.
little more
Except for
challenged.
eating.
right. And you know your typical lunchroom here. There's all type of talking and interactions and stuff
Exactly.
going on.
Turning it
I
around.
mean, the germs could easily fly over those partitions. That's my personal thought. Okay, let me show you something else here. All right. Now here, this is in China, no, Japan, I believe. And this is again a lunchroom, and they have these type of partitions now. From what has been told to me in regards to this, these partitions can be taken apart easily and taken out to be clean and replaced with other partitions. So basically, these kids are having lunch. They'll have them leave out. They'll take these partitions out, replace them with other partitions, have those go out to be clean, and then wipe everything up, and then have the next group of kids go in.
But that's not even safe because you can't even see what the children are doing.
Right.
And unless you have a lot of people that can man that, and they're constantly walking. I don't even
Back
think
and
there's
forth.
much in space walking back and forth in the aisles to make sure what they're doing. You
Right.
can't even see what they're doing.
So there's that. Okay, let's see what else is going on here. Bernie,
It's everywhere.
Bernie always popping up everywhere nowadays. When your
Everywhere.
mask don't be safe. Okay, Bernie, we got you, bro. All right, now here's some of the cleaning things that people are doing in terms of these classrooms. Now you see the type of garment this young man has on as he's cleaning the floor and whatnot, using that bucket, which I'm thinking is probably full of some type of sanitizer of some sort. Does that look like that's a sufficient job for cleaning that floor?
I mean,
Uh,
I think so. It's just disinfecting, right?
Mm-hmm. But that being said, do you see a scenario where every person that is cleaning a classroom is going to put on this contraption every day and do the floors?
no, because now in our buildings, well, the last time that I was in the building, what has happened was all the rooms were labeled. And I can't remember every classroom had a label. And it was something, maybe it said something like, I don't know, open or closed or used or unused or something. And so technically the ones that were open are the ones that they were to be sanitized.
Mm-hmm.
mhm.
And again, here you see where they're cleaning classrooms. There's multiple people cleaning this particular classroom in full hazmat suits. You see the various cleaning agents and uh, all these contraptions that they're using to clean the class. Some of these schools have what, maybe 75, 100 classrooms, maybe? Do you honestly see a cleaning crew going through there every single day and doing that
No.
multiple times a
Mhm.
day in full hazmat garments
Mm-mm.
for the low price?
We don't even have enough custodians or, as it is on a regular day, let alone, during this pandemic. We don't have that. We just,
Well, do you think they can stay in the classroom the whole time and the teachers switch rooms?
Okay, and then we have stuff like this going on.
and I can hear, she blinked.
I said, what do you think about the kids stay in one class and the teachers switch rooms? Like if you're the English teacher or, the English teacher go to the different rooms to teach the class. What do you think about that?
Well, I mean, any of
Like in
that
high
can
school,
work if you,
except for when you get to high school and then people go to different classes, math one, math two. But for
right.
the middle schools, what do you
That's
think
what
about that?
our school was doing, that when they had kids going to school, and as long as the numbers are down and they're able to, and the classrooms are able to be set up to socially distance. But that's not the case if everyone goes back to school. That's not going to happen. You're not going to be able to socially distance, and there will be a class with 45
Exactly.
class. And then right now, the numbers is, I mean, it's a lot of teachers that are retiring because of the fear. So it's going to we're going to
And
even need more teachers now.
but there's also a lot of parents out here that are very scared and are not
Mhm.
Right.
sending their kids back to
Correct.
school.
Right.
So it may not be, as many kids in the classroom when you guys are at full capacity. I think
Mhm.
right now during the pandemic, because you have teachers that still want to teach but are afraid because even though kids are not supposed to get it as fast as adults do, they still could be carriers,
Yes.
you know what I
And
mean,
that's
of the disease. So
yes.
I get,
That's
that there are some teachers that need to, that will feel
Right.
safer from doing it from home. But
Yes.
I believe that it's also some out there that are stuck in the house and want to get out too and ready to get back in the classroom.
Yeah.
And for those
True.
teachers and for the parents that quote unquote need their kids to go back in school,
Right.
there you go.
Okay.
And
Now,
You know
and
what I
I
mean?
hold on. Let me address some of these comments because we got a lot of them coming here. Parents need to be more proactive with the curriculum in order to get the teachers on point. Brittany's saying don't rush that vaccine on people, and that's a whole nother aspect of this.
Mhm.
I agree. I
Okay,
agree.
I appreciate your services. Thank you, Brittany.
Definitely.
Thank you, Brittany.
So let's fund more education for teachers. We need y'all more than anything. Absolutely.
Yes.
I appreciate your services too as a frontline worker, Brittany. Let me say that also. We also have to address that damn teachers union. Remember, the teachers unions are keeping bad teachers in rotation. So we have those who slip through the cracks, which can be in pajamas and such. Okay, I get what you're saying there. Teachers, it's only so much we can do. Honestly, it sounds good. If you see what some of these people had to say about y'all, huh? Okay.
but wait, we just had pajama day, so I did wear my pajamas on. We all did. We all did. We all did. Okay. Okay. I've got pictures and everything. So Monday was pajama day. We all dressed up.
Hey.
So today was Mishmash Day. Tomorrow is Valentine Colors Day.
Right.
So we're doing that.
Right.
I'm not mad at you, but apparently some of these folks is.
It was that one day.
I've always said that, yes, of course, it's bad teachers, it's bad doctors, it's bad lawyers.
Right.
Every
It's bad things in
You will
every.
never get 100% in any profession of, and I mean, that's unfortunate. You're going to have that. I had bad teachers in my day.
I agree.
So it's going to be that way. And we still had to go to school. We still had to deal with those bad teachers.
Yes.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, but you'll never get 100%. And I don't care what profession you're in.
And that's absolutely right. Okay.
Right.
Misha saying, now I will say this, like the caller, I am one who does not do well with online classes because I respond better to interaction and classroom participation.
Me too.
So as an assessment that we must make into consideration, that is on the parents. Parents need to be involved with the online classes in order to evaluate their child's performance. And I'm here to tell you, based on some of the people that I am in contact with, it's not the case with all these parents. Some of them, it's like, okay, y'all logged in, all right, and they go on about their business. They don't know what's going on. So particularly with some of these older kids, some of the things they're doing instead of being online at that moment. They online, but they PS5 with their boys and while they screen. They they typing all type of other little subtext on their phone while they in class, that type of stuff.
Yeah, because I didn't know that those computers can go to YouTube. And I went downstairs and he was on lunch break and he was on YouTube. And I'm like, wait a minute. I only let him get on YouTube where I can see what he's been watching. Because a lot of crazy stuff pop up there. And I want to make sure he's not watching all of that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But on that computer, I don't even know how to check his history to see what he's been watching on there. So yeah, you're right about that.
And I'm gonna do a show soon about what some of these kids is watching on YouTube these days. It blows my mind.
Oh
but anyway, okay, let's stop funding unemployment and fund these schools to keep our staff and children safe with proper education. Now, I got something to say about that.
But I totally get the parents, I get their pain. I understand it. I mean, of course that we understand, they're feeling what we feel all the time.
Yeah.
I get it. I do understand. And I'm not saying, of course we all want things to go back to normal. The question is it safe now? That, that's the thing.
Right.
Do we want to go back to where we were?
Right. Let me address this briefly. Keep in mind, Brittany, some of us who are unemployment, we have jobs. We just wait for our job to come back online. I don't think it's fair for you to go to get another punk job so that when your job come back, you got to quit it and then start back over. That's why I'm on unemployment person. I know other people have other reasons, but I get what you're saying, Brittany. Okay. Demetrius Taylor, I'm a mother managing 3 kids online plus me and a full-time job. This mother's burnt out. Plus
Yeah,
all
Right.
hustles.
and I understand that.
Brittany is a hustler. She getting hers. So but remember, Brittany, you are more the exception than the rule, boo. A lot of these other parents, they ain't getting it in like you. Okay, this coronavirus doesn't discriminate, and I will keep rallying it. Everyone can be vaccinated and go back to school safe. I know a teacher who caught coronavirus and got it from one of her students and gave coronavirus to her husband, and her husband died. She wished she never taught school and doesn't want to go back. She feels so guilty because she said if she never taught students, her husband will be living. And there's stories about this pandemic, not just about school, but in general.
Correct.
Okay, child, that plexiglass will be broken as mischievous as these kids are. What about the tomfoolery between the kids who want to taunt one another doing raging hormones and the liking? How do you affect social distance?
Correct.
Hey, bottom line, we went to Cody High School, right?
They doing it now.
They're doing what? The plexiglass?
Talking to each other and playing around and having a good time. They're still doing it now.
Yeah.
See, he talking about Lil Bernie. You know I like Lil Bernie. Don't be playing. Okay, but wait. They would have to change those suits with every clean. Absolutely. Hazmat suits are designed for one use only. I've been trained to be a hazmat person, so I know. That's a one-use only suit. You're supposed to use it and throw everything out. The cleaning, supply, everything, and start all over. Ain't anybody about to do that. If unemployment stops, people would get jobs. But what kind of jobs would you have to get unemployment?
Yeah.
And what job? A lot of these things are closed.
It's closed. It's no. Yeah, that's why they're on unemployment because they're
right.
People, man, that's a whole nother stuff that we can talk about entirely.
Yeah, because I worked in food and beverage, and they shut numbers down.
Now, I'm so glad you brought that up, Brittany, when you talk about the numbers in regards to that. Now, keep in mind, Brittany is saying this, and she actually is a healthcare worker, so she can kind of speak to it to a degree, but I think the numbers are real, and I don't think they actually
are real.
Should be. I think they're probably higher still. Remember, a lot of people, they're not going to get tested for COVID-19.
Right.
They're scared to go get tested. Or they feel like this ain't real, so they're not going to bother.
They're not doing what they're supposed to do. And currently, I'm not working. I am a health professional. Prior to teaching, I'm a nurse as well. So I was, prior to the pandemic, I saw it was a lot of kids that were really ill right before we were sent off school. And I kept saying something is not right. These kids were off for like 2 weeks. They
wouldn't get well. They just remain
sick. Hold on, y'all.
I was wearing masks way before masks. I was wearing masks back in February.
Hold on. Brittany's back, y'all. Okay, go ahead, Brittany. Oh. Okay, she got the lag, so give her a second. Okay, go ahead, Brittany. We hear you.
I can hear.
No, she listens to everybody talk. Okay, yeah, go ahead, Brittany.
I'm calling back about these numbers.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm calling about these numbers because I want to state this. A lot of people are being blamed for dying over. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you.
Yeah.
I'm basically trying to say that I feel like the numbers are definitely being over exaggerated. Do you know how a hospital can get off saying that a person died from COVID?
Okay, now I do know hospitals do make extra money in regards to that. I have shown the bills and everything, so yeah, I do know that much.
Yep.
So tell me why you think a person wouldn't say that they died from COVID just to get extra money and raise those numbers up.
Okay, well, bottom line, Brittany, I know you see the refrigerator trucks and stuff that they show on the news. Have you talked to any of the funeral home directors and whatnot? They tell you that, death is up. They got a lot more bodies piling up. So you say the numbers are high, but these people are dying from something, Brittany.
These people are dying from all type of things. Some people,
Right.
I know this conversation is about the teaching and all that, but me personally, I feel like this poison was threw out there because of population issues. I feel like they trying to die down a lot of this population. They're trying to get rid of these old folks. They're trying to get rid of people that cost money as far as
Okay.
And that was my theory as well.
Okay, now hold on, Brittany. I'm gonna cut you up. Not because you're not saying it's good stuff, but I say you going down a rabbit hole that's gonna take us in a whole different place.
Right.
I want to just keep it on this topic right here. But you know, I always address that all the time on the show. So feel free. I will put the number out there, and you can call again. We could definitely talk about that part of the scenario as well. Okay, you hear me? Okay, all right. Hear me. Yeah, remember, we on like a minute delay between what's actually going on the show and what you're hearing. So, sometimes if you call, you might be a minute or two behind us. So that's why you get that. But yeah, Brittany, again, thanks for calling. And like I said, you're not the only person that has addressed that with me. I mean, me and Miss Barbara had that very discussion early in regards to the numbers and whether she feel they are inflated. I personally feel like the numbers are not high enough. There are many people, particularly in terms of people with positive cases of COVID. I mean, some of us have been at some point felt like I didn't had COVID. I know that what it was, I had it, and it go back farther than April. I know people that felt like they had it in February and January and December. So there's that. Okay, let me get some more of these comments. I really don't think that the people can keep up cleaning those classrooms all day. That seems like it would be a huge disaster waiting to happen.
Right.
Okay, another comment. I can't understand a parent that talks about their child isn't doing good without being in school. I'd rather have my child living and not deceased. This is so sad that their health is more important. Okay, Mitra saying, not necessarily. The jobs that are out there are only part-time. Many of them are true. And they are not offering benefits. Also true. Folks want to believe unemployment is the beast, but it is not. The companies have made it unreasonable for folks to get back into the job market. Companies are hiring, but they're hiring and then not lay off, but will cut the hours down and even furlough people. Their profits coming. Remember, the reported 12 plus million people that are currently on unemployment in America, they're not all on full unemployment. Some of them are on underemployment because their job is not paying what they would normally get for 40 hours and what have you. A lot of the people that are unemployment are people like myself that work in the service industries where you work at a restaurant that's only open 25 to 50%. So you're not even making a quarter of what you normally would make. There's several reasons why the unemployment is necessary. And and I know me and Brittany went back and forth about the whole $400 and $600. And I know some people, they got that $600 when they was giving it and was doing all type of crazy stuff with it. But I like to think the majority of the people that got that money, they used it for what they needed it for. Because despite it all, people are still behind, even with the unemployment. But again, I don't want to get into that too much, but I thought, okay, my job stay hiring with great benefits. I'm glad to hear that. Put that information up, Brittany. Maybe a couple people could be blessed with that. Put that information up if you would. Okay. Oh, there was a theme today. There was a theme today. Okay. Yes, it is. That's cool. In order to keep it fresh and fun for the students to be more involved, that is an exception. As long as everyone is on board, that there should be no qualms. I was speaking from the point of laziness and complacency. I got you, Meech. People need unemployment to pay their bills or they will be homeless in some cases.
And they are kicking these people out of their homes
Yes,
too.
they are.
Correct.
Right. Even though there are protections for that, some people are not acknowledging that. Absolutely. They should have classes online to help parents to assist children with homework. Some help the children because they can't understand.
I agree.
I totally agree. 100% with that. Yes.
Okay.
I always like to joke and say, how can I teach my kid English if I don't speak good English?
Okay, hold on. Okay, go ahead. Who's speaking?
Hey, sir, this me, Dana. I'm calling now.
All right, Dana. I'm glad you could make it. This is Dana Brown. She is another fine educator. Get them a brief background and say your comments, Dana.
Okay, so my name is Dana Brown. I taught at Detroit Public School for 15 years. I left the district in 2017 and I packed up and moved here to Texas. I'm here in Texas. I just started my 4th year teaching. I'm currently not in the classroom now. And I can just tell you, it's a whole different playing field between Michigan and Texas. And so at home, I know they're virtual. Some kids are in the building, some are not. I still have a lot of friends, close friends that are DPS TD teachers who I still, talk to, and they keep me abreast of everything of what's going on. And I tell them, I wish I was like y'all because I'd rather not be in the building. I live here in Texas, and Texas don't care. Texas is open. The kids get back in the building said October. I wasn't in the building due to health conditions. They made us go back in the building. I worked 3 weeks, and I just because I have underlying health conditions, so I'm not currently in the classroom. I'm going back to work hopefully next month due to underlying health conditions. The thing with my particular school district, because I work in the 4th largest district in the San Antonio area.
Okay.
And so my school district inviting more kids in the building as of a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. They are doing COVID testing. They're doing asymptomatic testing, and they was doing the vaccine. A lot of my colleagues did get the vaccine, but the building is not full. I was hearing a lot of kids are not coming. A lot of parents are not sending their kids. But we had cases in my building. My whole administration staff got COVID, had colleagues who got COVID, and students got COVID. They still doing sports. Some of the sports teams in my building was quarantined. The football team, I know for sure. And I think the girls, volleyball, back when volleyball season was in the boys basketball. And so it's a whole different beast here down here in Texas, because it's like, okay, y'all get in there and get the classrooms. Yes, I heard somebody was saying about the challenging thing with the teaching. Yes, it is. My school is made up of Hispanics, blacks, white, and then others. And so the biggest population is the Hispanics and the blacks that are in my building. It's a very, very diverse school district and school that I work in. So yes, it's been challenging, but we have done everything to help the kids. We offered tutoring after school. Before school, we started, they was going to do Saturday tutoring, all that stuff. A lot of parents are not taking us up on it. A lot of parents are not communicating with us about different things. It's hard to reach parents. We have had students that have not been to class. One girl I had last semester, she popped up on Zoom. I saw her one time. I have not seen her since then. And so it's just a lot of things going on, because down here where I live in San Antonio, and it's a big Hispanic population. Those folks are on survival mode. They have more than 2 or 3 kids, and then it's the big kids taking care of the little kids. Mama got to work, or whatever the case may be. And so a lot of kids in my district did provide everybody with technology. Everybody did get a Chromebook. They upped the bandwidth in my district. But a lot of kids they're just not feeling it. And it's just, it's different. Like those kids who are really coming onto the Zoom, doing the work, those are the ones. And then it's those who are not. And those we just pull out our hairs over it. Like, what can we do to help you? And so that's about where we at. We are going to be taking our state test in April and May, because, like I said, Texas don't care because it's all about the money. And so it's just a different type of beast here versus to what's going on at home in Michigan. And so I can speak a little bit to Detroit Public Schools because I did spend a lot of time, there, but it's just a totally different beast between, me learning, teaching in 2 different states. It's a whole different beast.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so like I said, that's a whole nother perspective from another state entirely. And correct me if I'm wrong, Dana, but in terms of shutting things down there in San Antonio, there was never really a full shutdown in Texas where you're at all, was it?
It was a full shutdown, and then everything started back opening up. They shut down stuff for like a month and a half at the most, because a lot of the people was off the chain with the shut down businesses. Like, it was a lady up in Dallas. She was still doing hair, and she got fined, and she didn't do nothing. So it just depends who you was, So it was just different. Here in San Antonio, we was pretty much shut down because here in Texas, you have the mayor and you have the judges. The judges got a lot of power and pull here.
Mm-hmm.
They have a lot of say so. And so Mayor Ron and Judge Wolf here in San Antonio, they just doing everything to keep us safe. And I love them. You know, I am a Republican state. The governor here is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so they fight to keep us down. As a matter of fact, San Antonio ISD, which is one of like the second largest school district in this immediate area, they about to bring just about all their kids back in the building within the next week and a half.
Wow.
And so I have church members who is like, just pray for us because they work with San Antonio ISD, you know. And so it's different here. I don't know what my school gonna do. 9 times out of 10, my principal, he may follow suit because he just, you know, he just cut like that.
Okay.
It's all about the money because he at home the attendance was they come every day. We had the fourth Wednesday count, and the kids if they come 10 days before the count and 10 days before they still get counted to get the state money. And that happened in October, then it happened again like in February, April. Here, the money is based on daily attendance. So if the kids are virtual, as long as they log in, and by midnight, we can still count them for the attendance that day. And it's a daily attendance thing, and that's how the schools get the money. That's why they're trying to get these kids back in the schools here, you know, because it's a daily accruement with the money. So they're trying to start going out to parents' homes and doing attendance checks and things of that nature here.
Oh wow. Oh yeah. Like I said, that's a lot going on there. Thank you so much for chiming in and talking and let us hear that. We got a lot to address with that, but thank you for calling. I appreciate it. I'll talk to you soon.
Okay. All right. Bye.
Bye now.
Bye.
Bye.
Do you think you could go and be my friend on Facebook? Because I need to ask you some more questions about the school system in Texas that's not related to this conversation. Yes.
Yeah, Dana, if you chime in the comments, let me know if that's okay, and I'll hook all that up for you.
Oh, please.
Okay, but for my teachers here in Michigan, what did you think of her account of what's going on down there?
Like she said, they're getting COVID in the schools. They're in schools, and the COVID is going around in the schools. It's there, and until it's under control, you know, I mean, it's unfortunate it's this way. You know, this is all of our first time ever dealing with the pandemic, but it's here, and until we deal with it, you know, we all want to go back.
We do.
We want to be back. You know, everybody wants to go back to normal.
Yeah.
The thing is it safe? We want to go back when it's right, so we don't have to go back down this road again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, let me get some of the comments. Okay, H2 saying the numbers are much higher. I agree, H2. You know I do. Miss Brittany, darling, I do understand the pandemic has put a monkey wrench in everything. Now, I am sure with your comments that you are one of the good ones who knows what it means to be involved in their children's lives. Trust me, she is. However, please consider that for every one of you, there may be about 5 who are not involved like you. Also true, Meech. Like I said, I vouch for Brittany. She is a very good mother. But Brittany, I went to school for mortuary science, and the majority of the deceased in the funeral homes are with coronavirus. That is what one of our people. I can't see who you are exactly. Thank you for the info. I agree, Brittany. So some people do agree with Brittany. Okay. We just talked to Dana. I'm really serious about the coronavirus because I saw my niece die from it, and she couldn't have any visits or anyone to hold her while she was dying. That's what Miss Pat said. But let us keep in mind we pay into unemployment. Also true.
Yeah.
Exactly. Okay, correct. I am back to work at a hotel, and I'm only working 24 hours per week and no benefits. So yeah, like I said, part of unemployment does supposed to help the underemployed. Hey, Miss Dana, our little Alex. Yep, he remembers Dana from school. Demetrius, he went to school with us also, by the way, y'all. It's so different state to state and county to county. Exactly, H2, exactly. I wonder how many of them are undocumented and they have to keep their hustle together in order to survive and be not be deported, especially now. A pandemic and undocumented, the unwillingness to provide health care at the expense of natural citizens, and that's a whole nother problem. I mean, like I said, there's so many different layers to this thing that I don't even have time to really get into in regards to that. But from it looks like what most people are saying is right now it's not safe to re-engage fully, and it would take a heck of a lot to make it to where it would be safe. I mean, you see some of those things that I showed in the video. There's no way that public schools here in the United States, for the most part, are going to implement most of that. They're just not.
Mhm.
Not, they're not.
I don't need to be a teacher or a parent or no one else to know that much. I don't went to
Yes.
the schools. I know how I go.
Right.
Everywhere. Who determines when it will be in control? I've
Right.
covered with the blood of Jesus. Whatever happens, happens. And unfortunately, Brittany, a lot of people feel that way. They get it, they get it. What happens, happens. And unfortunately, a lot of those people are no longer with us.
I mean, but the only precautions that they're telling us right now is to wear a mask, stay clean, and stay out of people's faces. So I mean, if we can do all of that every place else, I don't see why we can't do that in the schools. I
Well, you
mean,
got
that's
to
the
realize
only
that
precaution.
that is the recommendation for just about every country on planet Earth. And
Right,
for some of these countries, that's actually working. They've got it to where they control COVID to the point where they can open
Right.
back fully. For example, the Australian Open is going on right now in Australia, and nothing is closed down in Australia. Everything's
right.
back open. They're having like maybe 100 cases to 200 cases a day throughout the whole country. We probably had 1,000 cases here today in this city.
Mhm.
Well, all I know is, and I'm not saying again that I'm saying that COVID is not a real thing, but I have been to a lot of the hospitals and I didn't see all of these people. And when the only thing I had to do was take my temperature, they gave me hand sanitizer and sent me on my way. And I'm a talker, as you can tell. So I was in the hospital talking to everybody. I was talking to the nurses, I was talking to the doctors, I was trying to see, what they went through and how they feel about the situation. And so that's the only thing I'm saying is I really don't believe the numbers. I don't believe what they're saying on the news. Normally, I go to a country that hate us and I listen to their news because they news usually tell the truth about what's happening over here.
And I've had that conversation with a couple people this week in regards to them not trusting our news. But before we get too far off into that, I want you to hold on, Barbara. You can do the rest of it, but keep in mind these fine educators, they got classes and stuff to deal with in the morning. So I don't want to keep them too long. But before we let you guys go, I kind of want to give you a last say so as to what your thoughts are in regards to this whole thing. I'm gonna start with you first, Chris. What do you think?
Well, I just think that it's definitely not safe for us to go back. But some of us are going. I think that everyone should have a choice in order to go
Yes,
back. But I
Yes.
personally,
yes,
I don't think that it is safe. And I know some children that have gone back to school, and there are not very many children at school. I know a little boy, in fact, that's in third grade, and I think there are about 25 students in his classroom, and now he's number four. So only four kids are showing up.
right.
So I mean, but here's the thing: the teacher didn't show up as a substitute.
Wow.
So so I asked myself, what kind of education is he getting? It's not the same as the teacher's online and the substitute is in the classroom. So, well, he doesn't know, any difference in his education, but I'm sure there is. So it's a hard decision to make. It really is. I guess I wouldn't want to either contract it on myself or to give it to a child because you never
No.
forgive yourself. And when you think about it, I heard what you said about going to the doctor, and it's true. They give you hand sanitizer, and then they check your temperature and different things. But what people fail to realize is that we not only touch the students' lives, but we physically touch them all day long. I mean, COVID is still going on, but even when I was in a building and you would see your old students and different stuff, the first thing they
Yeah.
want to do to you is to walk up to you and hug you. And, you're like 6 feet, 6 feet. They're like, oh, come
I
on.
do that.
What I mean? So you and you want to do that. So, a kid's got a cold, and parents will send the kids and they're sick. And, you
Right.
try to, they don't want to come pick them up. So just a lot of things. I mean, the child has a cold, so you teach them how to clean their nose and take care of those different things and stuff. we actually physically interact with children all day long. And you
Yeah.
don't think about those things. I touch what you touched, and maybe I didn't remember to wash my hands, but now I have to. And the kids won't think of that. They our kids are young, so they put everything in their mouths, everything. And even the older ones too. You get nervous, you'll chew on something, you'll put it down, you'll pick it back up, your friend will do the same thing. So it's not the same. It's definitely not the same with working with children versus adults. It's not. There's so many factors that, unless you're at a school all day long and watch, you'll just never truly see. And in terms of that social distancing, there's not too much social distancing going on in the classrooms. Even when I was in the building for the short time that I was, and for the people that had their students in the classroom, in order for them to teach them how to social distance, a lot of the teachers, in order to keep the kids apart, they had like jump ropes. One would be in the beginning of the line, one would be in the middle of the rope, and one would be at the end. And that's what you would see coming trailing. And you will be here, and your class will be all the way around the corner just trying to social distance. I mean, only sending like
Right.
two in the bathroom at a time. I mean, it definitely is a lot. The lunchroom, the handling of the food, because kids share food. They sneak food all day long. You say don't do that, but your mama made that, and your mama makes some good brownies. So, I took a bite, well, give me a bite. So there's so many
Right.
things that you don't see. When you send a child to the bathroom, you don't know what they're really doing in there. Especially when you send them, okay, go ahead, go quick, go good, because we just went. You don't know what they're doing or who they're coming in contact with. You just don't know. And we teach the proper precautions of how to wash their hands. But some of them, they're trying to hurry up and get in there and wash their hands. And in all actuality, hand sanitizer is good. But what they're saying is that the CDC regulations is basically saying that you need to use soap and water. Hand
Yes.
sanitizer is only for when you're in a emergency. We need soap and water, and
Always.
you need to have time in order to do those things.
Right.
Yeah.
There are a lot of different things, a lot of different factors that people just you don't really see, and unless we live that every single day. We live that like, oh, hands wash, don't touch, just, it's a lot.
Mhm.
Definitely a lot
Yeah,
of factors.
I see all these comments. I'm gonna get to that, but I want everybody to get their say so in before they have to go. Okay, Latrice, what's some of your final thoughts on this?
My final thoughts is I don't believe that it's completely safe to go back um, just yet. I mean, I don't think that the schools, they weren't ready, and they're still not ready to handle, the situation. Yes, they've thrown the thermometers there. Yeah, and that's another thing. You have parents who are not as responsible as you may be here online,
Mhm.
because you have parents. I've had parents in the past. Child has a fever. Guess what they do? They
They
give them
send them to
Tylenol
school.
before they go to school to
Mhm.
make sure
Mhm.
that they don't have a fever when they go to school. And you
Mhm.
know that because now 11 o'clock hits and the child temperature is 103.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, well, my mom gave me some pills before I left, to
Mhm.
mask that. So it's everybody is not being responsible, and everybody's not going to be responsible by doing the right thing. And it will, like you said, some parents, a lot of parents, all of my parents were, they had the choice. They sent the surveys out.
Mhm.
Do you want your child to go back or don't you? I'm telling you, majority of my parents did not want their children to go back. They said,
Right.
you know, but each person experience can be different. Brittany experienced the teacher in pajamas. I mean, what I'm saying,
Right.
so everybody experience is different. I would hate for someone to ever, think that all teachers are doing that or wasting time, because we have a lot of learning going on in my classroom, and we have a lot of fun doing it, and I have a great relationship with all of my parents, and they're very supportive. And I mean, it is what it is right now. I don't like it, just like no one else. We're in a pandemic, and we have to come up with what's the best way to get us there. They have the schools coming up with these safety plans because they weren't ready, and they're still not ready.
Right.
They came up with a safety plan that will work. we will all be for going back. But we know from being in the schools that it's not going to be that way. It's not
Okay.
going to work.
All right, now let me put this out here. Then I'm gonna take a commercial break. I'm definitely gonna address all these comments, y'all. So keep them coming. I'm gonna get there. But bottom line is, here in the state of Michigan, Governor Whitner wants to implement to where all schools have some form of in-class learning by March 1st. Do you think it's good at that point? Yes or no?
Well, they're doing it at our they're doing it now with the Detroit Public School with the learning centers.
Right. But
Yeah.
do you agree? Yes or no?
I mean, personally, no. I think that we should wait till it's totally safe. Then we won't go back and forth as we've been doing, back and forth.
Chris, same question.
Well, I mean, but she's right. Schools may open now, but I see them closing when all the different places that are closed and their capacity increases and it gets warmer outside and no one wants to wear their masks. They'll be closed again real soon.
Okay. So there you have it. Okay, so ladies, like I said, I know you guys got school and stuff to teach and lesson plans and all that good stuff. So I won't keep you much longer. Barbara, you hold on. We're going to finish this conversation.
Okay, wait, but before we go, I do want to say thank you, ladies, for everything that you do. Dealing with these kids and being able to communicate with them. I mean, it's almost like you have 50 children, but you only gave birth to a few. You know what I mean?
Thank you.
So I do want to say thank you for everything that you guys do.
And we thank you and appreciate you. And it's all about, we just have to have that compassion for each other.
Right. Right. So Chris and Latrice, thank you so much for being on the show. And
thank you.
Your expert opinion. Yes. Thank you so much. Whatever y'all getting paid is not enough. Period.
That's right. And Cody comments for life.
Absolutely.
C-O-D-Y.
All right, so we're going to let our teachers go and do their thing. I'm about to take some commercial breaks. When we come back, we're going to address a lot of these comments because y'all going deep and furious to come. I definitely want to get to some of these things. But right now, we're going to the commercials. This is Get Off My Lawn Live.
And you guys be my friend on Facebook, too.
Okay.
We'll hook all that up for you, Barbara.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
We'll be back after these words, y'all.
Discretion is advised.
Behind the Blue Curtain, Saturdays at 11 a.m. Eastern. Unscripted talk on police reform and race relations.
And now, Behind the Blue Curtain's law enforcement liaison, retired 32-year Chicago police veteran, homicide detective, former commander, sergeant, grant writer, lecturer, and adjunct professor, Joseph J. Mosley.
Behind the Blue Curtain's Minister of Common Sense, former 12-year Fort Worth police officer, educator, voice of reason, and unapologetic practitioner of sound judgment, the young scholar, LaRonda Young.
Behind the Blue Curtain's co-host, fact checker, and investigative journalist is Isidoro Rodriguez.
Hello, hello, hello. It's another glorious day, my tea-sippers, and you know what time it is. I hope you have all of your comfort together because it's time to dish tea. And you're dishing tea, darlings, with Big Meech.
Can't wait. It's time to dish tea with Big Meech. It's time to dish tea with Big Meech. It's time to dish tea with Big Meech. It's time to dish tea with Big Meech.
Darling.
What's up, y'all? This your boy Derek, the host of that fabulous show, Hey Bitches Live, the remix with your boy Derek. Do me a favor. Go check out my Facebook page, HB Live, the remix with Derek. Like it, join it. That's one good way that you can always find out when my shows will be on. They're always on Facebook Live and YouTube Live. Subscribe to that for me, and we got it going on. You know, Hey Bitches Live, the remix, the show that talks about all the things that a lot of us want to talk about and some of us are scared to talk about. So check me out, Hey Bitches Live, the remix with your boy Derek, a very proud member of the Nighthawk Network.
What's going on, everybody? We are back. This is Get Off My Lawn Live. I'm your host, Eric Buckner. Again, thank you to our educators, Miss Chris and Miss Latrice. Thank you so much for your comments. Thank you also, Dana, as well, for joining the show and giving us your comments. We still have Miss Barbara Grant here, and she is going to do the rest of the show with me. Right now, we're about to get into some of these comments. Y'all had a lot to say about what was said, so let's get right on into it here. Hold on. Got to scroll back through for a minute, folks. Okay, we're going to start here. Demetrius, hey, Demetrius, how are you? Yeah, Dana remembers you. Elaine said, when they stop worrying about money, only then will it get better. Agreed. I don't think we should rush children to go back. We should take time to make the necessary precautions. Okay, so I'm going to say this. Everyone wants to go back to it's safe. But when it's safe, I don't care if a person works, but please take your children's health safe. I'd rather have my child living and risking their lives going to school. Absolutely. Okay. Hey Bitches Live, the remix with your boy Derek, following Get Off My Lawn. So yes, immediately following this show, that guy you saw in the last commercial, Derek, he's gonna do a remix and he'll probably definitely talk about this even more so. So if you want to tune in after that on the Nighthawk Network and catch some more of that, feel free to do so. Brittany is saying that's why parents are getting options. If you don't want your kid in school, keep them home.
Yes.
These masks are making us sick.
Yes.
How are we getting masks from what? Hold on. How are we getting masks from where they say it contacted from? Oh yeah, she's saying that basically a lot of these masks are coming from China, and that's where they said the virus originated from.
In the first place, yeah.
Sense. That's the problem. Most people are not doing it. No, if they get it or they don't get it, it's not the right attitude to have. Exactly. They want us scared. A lot of people feel that way.
I do.
You do too. I know you do. Mm-hmm. I am looking forward to your live, Helena, but believe me, the numbers are real. I've seen it. That's Miss Pat. We have these kids living in fear, can't even love on your loved ones. Let me stop here for a second. Here's the thing. Remember, we only have half of the equation here, the parents and the teachers. There's also the kids and what they're thinking in regards to this. So that's why earlier I asked you about how your kids are feeling about it. And, I've talked to my share of parents and, talked to them about how their kids feel. It varies from household to household in regards to how you deal with your kid overall. But a lot of these kids, they just as confused as we are as regards. Yeah. Because the thing is, the situation is changing every day. They tell us one thing one day, and then they find out something else and tell us something else. And regarding the vaccine, for instance, some of the things they're thinking now is like, is one vaccine enough? In other words, for these vaccines where you're supposed to get 2 shots, they're saying that maybe one might just be enough to get us situated until we figure this thing out. Some people are saying, okay, in terms of these new variants, instead of getting 2 shots, maybe we should get 3 shots, so an additional booster shot to deal with these variances that are more contagious.
See, it's just too much.
And other countries right now, they're looking into, okay, can we mix these vaccines? Can we take one Pfizer shot and one Moderna shot and things of that nature? There's so many different scenarios in this. It's no wonder why a lot of people don't trust taking these vaccines.
Right.
Okay. So do you guys think kids and teachers should get tested weekly? That's a good question. I myself say it depends. Remember, we're talking about different school districts and different amounts of children and all that. I can understand why, say, a teacher and parents in Wyoming or Idaho, where it may just be 50 kids in the whole doggone school, are saying, yeah, let the kids go back. Because in the end, I'm pretty sure you could do social distancing easily in a school that size. But then for these larger metropolitan schools where you got 3, 4, and 5,000 kids going to the school, even if you did the testing every week with the kids, I mean, think about how many tests that is, first of all. But second of all, okay, let's just say you do the testing, 5 of those kids and 2 of the teachers end up sick. Now, according to the CDC guidelines, you got that many people sick in that building, you should be shutting it all down, right? 14 days to complete clean, all that, and then start over again. Are we going to keep going back and forth with this thing like that? Okay, now we got in-class learning. Oh, people got sick. Shut it back down. How much longer are we going to do that before we get to that point? So I understand people's frustration with, okay, when it's going to be same again.
Right.
Okay, and that is the point. Until we get this thing contained, we have no business being open as we are. When will it be safe? These kids' education is doomed. And then that's the thing I wish I would have had the time to ask you guys. If you guys are still tuned in, here's my question. Have there been any talks about what you guys are going to do in regards to getting the kids that's behind back on track? Remember, a lot of these school districts, they're not doing testing. So you're not able to, gauge what this kid has learned as opposed to what a typical 3rd grader or a typical 6th grader should know at this point. Because those determine that more times than not. So there's that. Okay, they're saying, okay, Ms. Pat's saying some parents use the teachers as babysitters. They send them to school when they are sick. If anyone sends your child to school sick and make others sick, you are horrible parents just because you need to go to work. CPS needs to be called on you. How dare you put others at risk of getting sick? And then there's that part. So, some parents, they feel like, okay,
But parents been doing that for years. This ain't the first time that started.
Right. Some parents, they send their kids to school regardless. Not even just because they got to go to work and whatnot. They don't have nobody else to watch them. Some parents just don't feel like being bothered with their kids like that. They'd rather have them out their face for that 7, 8 hours. That's their me time. You know what I'm saying? Okay, I'm tired of leaving my mask in the car. Yeah, I can understand.
Right.
Because it's been a couple times I'd be like, oh, that's why now when I got my coat, I got 2 or 3 different masks in the coat. So.
Same here. That's what I do too.
Okay. Teachers are offering ABC mouse. Okay. They don't want to pay Americans until they get this thing contacted. Who is the Facebook? It depends, Brittany. Like I said, I don't have access to both of my phones. I usually do. So sometimes I know who it is based on a comment. Sometimes I don't. So it may be several people that's commenting, and some of them I know who they are and some of them aren't. Okay, the median age of school teachers in Detroit is 50. We are more at risk of becoming ill from COVID. Okay, that is Latrice chiming in for that. Again, the median age of school, in other words, the average age of a teacher in Detroit is 50. We are more at risk of becoming ill from COVID because, as you know, the older you get, one, you tend to have more of those pre-existing conditions, particularly people of color. A lot of us have hypertension, diabetes, obesity, things of that nature. So there's that. And again, 50 and older, remember, the vast majority of people who have died from coronavirus, not just here, but across the world, have been 50 and older.
Right.
I would say almost 70% of that amount accounts for those people. So, yeah, that's definitely something you have to consider.
Right.
Okay, so Barbara, let me get into something you talked about. Remember, you were saying that you felt like the numbers are not what they are reporting. You feel like they're lower. Okay, let's just say, okay, for example, let me show you this here. And Brittany, you can chime in this here. I see you still in the comments. Okay, for example, these are our numbers here in Michigan as of today. 622,000 cases, 15,863 deaths. So if I were to tell you that's what the numbers are, what do you think they actually are?
You know what? I couldn't give you an actual figure on that. I can only tell you what I've experienced and the people that I talked to.
Say, do you think it's half that amount?
I'm gonna take at least a fourth of that off.
Okay, so you would say instead of 15,000, you say it's probably closer to 10.
Maybe, if that. I
Okay.
think a lot of deaths have been blamed on COVID because I also feel that, well, yeah, that I don't want to get into that part.
All right, now correct me if I'm wrong, because again, guys, if my IT people and my research department is in the building, let me know this. But okay, Brittany is saying COVID isn't disappearing. Sorry,
Right.
can't be safe. No realistic numbers. I agree with Barbara. Okay, so here's the thing, folks. Remember, when people are dying of COVID, you have to consider the whole scenario. Remember, say a person dies in the hospital. They have to do some type of autopsy on the body to determine the actual cause of death. For some things, it's kind of obvious. You know, like basically, if you have a heart attack and you can see that the person's heart gave out and what have you, there's that. So, cause of death, heart attack, and what have you. What happens now, though, is when people are dying, they determine the death at that moment. But then they go back and do the autopsy. If they find any trace of COVID in that person, whether they've had it or they had it at the time in which they died, they consider that a COVID death because they consider that COVID was part of what caused that person to die sooner than they would have. So those are part of what those numbers indicate. Also remember, in some of these places, you get like 50 to 100 folks dying maybe every couple days. That's a lot of paperwork to have to go through. Also remember, sometimes when the people dies during the weekend, some of the people that do those paperwork, they're not working during the week. I mean, they're not working during the weekend. So that paperwork piles up and then they have to make back. Because oftentimes, like here, when they report the numbers and then they had that star like, okay, 35 is based on past receipts from, this day and that day. So there's that.
I hear and I do hear what you're saying, but I always think that they are creating mass hysteria. They are inflating these numbers because the people that I talked to that did get sick from COVID, they still sent them home. They gave them Tylenol, ibuprofen, and sent them home and told them to stay quarantined. My nephew had it for 3 days. So he got it on Monday and he didn't have it. He took the test again on Wednesday and didn't have it anymore. You know what I mean? So I just feel as if they're trying to scare a lot of people. And even though it's serious, because you don't die from COVID, you die from what's wrong. If you have a heart disease or if you have a lung disease or if you have problems, COVID get in there and inflates that. You know what I mean? So it's normally, not with every case, but normally that's what it is. And it's hard for me to ask questions, to someone who just passed away. If it was something else, did they already have this? Did they already have that? You know what I mean? To get the research on it. Because again, I do not believe the news. I go by what I see and real people that it has happened to. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And because I am a talker, I ask a lot of questions.
Okay, now let me show you this right here. Okay, these are the numbers for all the various states as of today. I know that's kind of hard to see, but that top number, that's California. They have the most positive COVID cases at this point. They're saying about 44,000 people have died in California alone. And then you go down the line, you got Texas, Florida, New York. As you see, most of those states are states where there are large populations of people. In other words, most of our major cities are in those states. New York has New York, obviously. California has Los Angeles, San Diego, so on and so forth. Chicago's in Illinois. Ohio has Cleveland, Cincinnati, what have you. Another thing you notice in all those particular states, a lot of those cities have large populations of African Americans and people of color in those cities as well. So a lot of those numbers come from those particular cities and that particular population of people. So that being said, do you think that's part of what comes into effect in terms of your thoughts on the numbers?
Yeah, a little bit. I definitely agree with you. But I also want to say that, I was in Florida and I was in California and I was around a lot of, it was a lot of people. And some had masks and some didn't. Some was drinking, some was doing that. And I didn't hear any outbreaks. I tried to listen to the news and see if I heard anything, and I didn't hear any outbreaks about that. So again, I still have to say that I just don't believe the numbers.
Okay, now here's something that vaccines are killing more people than COVID. Now, keep in mind, according to the latest numbers, there are 50 million people that have received at least one dose of the vaccine so far in the country. Out of all those, 12 million people have received both shots, either the Moderna or the Pfizer vaccine. So they are considered fully vaccinated at this point. Basically, out of those 12 million people, you feel that there are more people. So remember, today, the number's like 440,000 people have died of COVID. You think in that time, remember, these vaccines have only been administered these last couple months, Brittany. So you thinking that more than 400,000 people have been killed from the vaccine? And then there's this, flu numbers are higher than COVID. According to the CDC numbers, keep in mind, the CDC is the Center for Disease Control, where most of those numbers have to be reported to by all states so that they can keep an accurate account of what's going on. Flu numbers this year are considerably lower than that normally would be. On average, yes, about 50 to 75,000 people each year die from the flu here in the United States alone. That number is considerably lower this year. Part of that, obviously, is because people are not in each other's face like that. Another obvious reason, a lot of people are wearing masks. So the things that cause the flu are some of the same things that cause coronavirus. So that's why those numbers are down. Flu been killing people, true enough, but like I said, not to the extent of this. Remember, on average, like I said, 50 to 100,000 people, maybe 1 million people across the world. Remember, there's about 8 billion people on the planet. So when you figure that number out, that's less than 1%. Right now, we have 2.5 million people that have died from the coronavirus in about a year. That figures out to about 1.3% of the total population of the world. I think we got 50 million reported cases worldwide. That figures out to maybe less than 4% of the total population. So there's that. Yes, we do have to remember the vast majority of people that will contract the coronavirus will not die. They will not die. However, we also have to know that some people that get coronavirus, they will have long-term health problems that will go beyond the time they were sick. They will have problems with their lungs, with their heart, with their immune system, these things. We also have to remember the vast majority of people that's testing positive for COVID-19 are having no symptoms. They are asymptomatic. About 60% of all people that are being tested and seen as positive, they have no symptoms whatsoever. Not a cough, not a fever, no nothing. So that's part of the problem too. We don't even know who has it.
Right.
So there's that part. Okay, Brittany's saying, watch the numbers for this vaccine. Only because they are offering it to a selected few. Watch when they offer it to the whole public. And then there's that, because right now, and we'll get into what you're saying about the news, it's been reported that a lot of people are waiting in line, trying to hurry up and get this vaccine, and there's not enough vaccines to go around. Many of the news outlets are reporting that. But then when you talk to the actual people on the streets, some people are saying, yeah, I definitely want to take it when it's my turn. But then there's some people like Brittany and other folks that's like, I'm not taking it. They can pay.
Yeah, I'm not taking it.
They can give me lotto money.
It.
They can give me lotto money. I'm still not taking it. Because in the end, they don't trust it for 3 reasons. One, because it's a quickie vaccine, and we've had that discussion on the show. We all know, I just broke down how they make vaccines, and your average vaccine takes 5 to 10 years to manufacture and fully implement. And there's that. 2, because of course, people have a distrust of anything that they don't have a full understanding of. And obviously they don't have a full understanding because we're coming up with different measures to figure this thing out every day. And 3, poorly in our community of color, we know about some of our past history in terms of them using us for experimentations, guinea pigs, as you will, and whatnot. And like I said, even the most learned person would tell you that, okay, in the end, this is probably the greatest experiment in the history of mankind, because all these vaccines, remember, they're being approved for emergency use only. They have not been fully vetted. They have not for full use. Also, they have been signed off on by the president, the previous president, so that you cannot go back and sue Moderna or Pfizer or Johnson & Johnson if you have complications for the virus. There is complete protection for that. And we are not the only country to implement that. Other countries have done that as well. So that's something you have to consider as well. Okay. So yeah, when Brittany says watch when they offer it to the whole public, I understand her concerns with that. So
right now, I know they're going around to the convalescent homes and they're bringing it to them and giving them the shots.
Yep, because full disclosure, I have several family members that have had both shots of the vaccine, and right now, none of them are reporting any type of complication. However, I also had a family member who recently had to be hospitalized for other reasons, and of course, her family went bonkers because the first thing popped out there was, "Oh no, she had the shot." Blah 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 blah. And in the end, a lot of people are going to think that, particularly anybody who got the shot. I know people. I have actual friends who have told me, if you get that shot and something happened to you, I ain't got nothing to do with it. Don't send me no GoFundMe page. Don't send me none of that, because you was the one telling everybody these things, and now you the one who got the shot. You the stupid. I've actually had one person. I'm not gonna put them out there, but they basically said that if you take that shot, I don't know if I want to be bothered with you no more like that. And it's not that they hate. It's not that they hate me or don't love me. It's just because they is that concerned about people taking that vaccine. So I completely understand that. There's a lot of distrust with this, and like I said, that don't just come from the last couple years in the past presidency. That comes from decades and centuries of people of color getting treated wrongly by people that don't look like them. So I absolutely do. But yeah, like I said, there's a lot to talk about that, and in the weeks to come, we will have these discussions because I think it's important. That's why Get Off My Lawn exists, because we're here to have the discussions that we don't talk about enough as people, that we need to have understanding. Because in the end, whether we agree or disagree, we have to have these discussions with each other so we can kind of find some common ground. So we can.
You're absolutely right.
Because in the end,
because I think a lot of this kind of target, older people. And a lot of people don't get into health until after 45, when something starts going wrong. Your legs start hurting, your knee or your stomach or whatever the case. Now you want to go work out. Now you want to try to eat right. You know what I mean? So we need to have these conversations, and people do need to go get checked out.
Absolutely. Like I said, particularly when you get older, because as your body gets older and things start to break down and you gain more weight and things of that nature, you tend to have more health problems. And if you keep them unchecked, they can all build up on you real quick. But that being said, y'all, we are going to have one little small break, and we're going to talk about one final topic. I'm glad we had a lot of good discussion about this one, but a final topic for the evening, folks. Valentine's Day is a scam. Y'all. And I'm gonna tell you why I feel that way when we get back. This is Off My Lawn Live. That's Barbara Grant. I'm your boy E-Buck, and we'll be back after this commercial break.
We're not asking for your permission. We're not seeking your approval. We're claiming what's ours in the name of our ancestors. We are their answered prayers. This is more than a movement. This is a revolution. Black innocence. What are yours today?
Look at that, David Ford, that's his name. You don't know Tom. Yeah. Yes. Oh, here we go. Oh, I can't see the demons. I can't see the demons, but I can see the light.
We are creating black luxury across this country.
All right, y'all, we are back. This is Get Off My Lawn Live. I'm your boy E. Beasy. Eric Buckner in the building. I got my guest, Miss Barbara Grant. Y'all call
What's
her Barbara
happening?
Tree. You call her Miss Barbara if you're disrespectful. We ain't got time for that. But anyway, we getting into our final thing for the evening. Valentine's Day is a scam.
Now I want to know why you say that.
I'm so glad you asked me that, Miss Barbara Grant. I'm about to tell you why. Okay, people, keep in mind, Valentine's Day is a holiday based on another holiday on another holiday. I'm gonna let y'all do the research. You know, I often do the research for you and let you know what is what. Bottom line is, when we were in school, back when school was normal, they used to teach us about the holidays and how they came to be and whatnot. Are you
Right.
guys, kids, learning those things? Perhaps, you know, when you get a brain break from the usual learning on the tablet, pull them aside and have them look up a Wikipedia or a YouTube and find out how Valentine's Day came to be. Now, keep in mind, like I said, it started out one way, but what happened was a couple of the big box stores back in the day decided, yeah, we need a holiday to celebrate people doing things for their loved ones. And we need to sell some stuff at the same time. Let's combine these two ideas and make Valentine's Day a big deal. So yeah, let's start having these Valentine's Day sales and start selling these candies and whatnot. And okay, so yeah, they saw that, and the restaurant said, yeah, let's build off of that. It's starting to be a big deal now. So let's start having these Valentine's Day packages and get some stuff together so people can get their romance on and whatnot. And while we do all that, let's jack up the prices. Let's start charging people double. Let's make it to where, okay, we can have this buffet and get y'all a whole bunch of cheap old food for a nice price, because we're going to put some fancy flowers around the table and have you invite your moms in them. Let's go and hit the Red Lobster and pull out all the stuff from the freezer that we ain't been able to sell all winter and go ahead and sell all that on special for Valentine's Day and so on and so forth. Valentine's Day is a scam, folks. People are using Valentine's Day and has become a multi-billion-dollar industry day because in the end, they want you to tell your loved one, okay, I love you even more so today than any other day. This is your MVP award. Thank you for being my boo. Here's your chocolates. Here's your flowers. Let's go to the room in the restaurant. Let's take a carriage ride around wherever and what have you. And my question to you is that, okay, she was your boo the day before, right? She was your boo last week. She was your boo a few months ago when it was warm outside. She was your boo when the taxes come a few weeks from now, when you have some real money to deal with, or when you get your next stimulus package or whatnot. Wouldn't it make more sense that when you have more extra money to do such things, we do that? Remember, Valentine's Day is February 14th, y'all. Christmas was what? December 25th? How many of y'all are still trying to recover from all the money you spent on Christmas time? Another garbage holiday that's not celebrated for what it should be celebrated for. We've had that discussion already, y'all. But anyway, the thing is, I already know where most of y'all gonna go with this. Two things. One, yeah, Mr. Buckner, you know we talked on the show about how you're not seeing anybody right now. You're single. So yeah, you probably feel like bah humbug about Valentine's Day. So that's part of why you're saying what you're saying. And yeah, Mr. Buckner, you talked about how you are unemployed right now. So you probably don't have no big money to be spending on said boo person, what have you. And that's why you're saying that, because you're a cheap son of a. That's why you're saying the things you're saying. No, I'm not. What I'm saying is look at certain things in regards to this. Remember, let's just say you're going out and you're looking for a Valentine's Day card and some candy and whatnot, and you get to that point the day before, and you go and they got 2 or 3 boxes left. Yeah, and some of these little stores, they jack up the price. You might pay $5 or $6 for a little stale box of candy that's been there for a couple of weeks. And some of these little bootleg stores, mind you. And then, of course, you go to Walmart, they got more candy than you can stand, and you buy all that. But then why can you turn around 2 days later, go back to that same Walmart store, and that candy's half off, 2 for $1, 50%, and all that good stuff. Those cards that was $5.99 is now 2 for $5, and they selling in a whole little. Think about these things, folks. Hold on. Nope, we still on that other stuff. Okay. Say it. Teach this thing. I'm trying to tell them, Meech.
No, because I don't agree. I don't agree with you at all.
Full say so. Let me finish on out. Bottom line, it's a scam, children. They're running your pockets, and they got you thinking that if you don't do this, that you's a bad person, that you don't love your loved one, that you don't care about them. Remember, part of the whole scenario be later on, 2 days later, after you had this beautiful Valentine's Day weekend and whatnot, you go to the office that next day, girl, let me tell you what my man did, blah, 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 blah. And then, no, girl, my man did this and this and this. And y'all comparing stories, and then based on that, you might go back home like, nigga, all you did was this, this, and this, and oh, girl did this and this and this. You don't love me. She got love. You don't love me. You base your relationship on what somebody did for you on Valentine's Day? How crazy is that? Hold on. Me just saying, why do I have to pay for one day to make you feel special when I should be doing that all year long? That part right there. Because I really question your relationship if in the end it takes special holidays and whatnot for you to do Valentine's Day and do your lover right. Barbara,
you don't have to wait until Valentine's Day to do something special, but on Valentine's Day, it should be something sweet. It doesn't have to be a bunch of money. You can walk in there with a dozen roses or a rose. You can just spend time with your woman and have a good time. You don't have to always spend a bunch of money. It all depends on the type of person and how they feel about that situation. It's Valentine's Day. Of course, you love your girlfriend / boyfriend on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and the rest of the days. But today is Valentine's Day, and we can do something special. And then you have some females that could care less about Valentine's Day. You know what I mean? So I don't think it's a scam. I think that these stores seduce you into buying all of this stuff, but you don't have to buy all of this stuff to be nice and sweet to your partner.
and why must you do it on Valentine's Day? Especially when you know if you wait 2-3 days, you're going to get all this stuff for half off and back to this normal price.
Because it's Valentine's Day. You don't have to buy those chocolates. You don't have to do that. You can go out to dinner, or you can make her a dinner. Or again, it could just be time that you spend with one another. It could be a date night. Maybe both of you have jobs. Maybe you're at work a lot all the time. You never know what the situation is. I myself is single right now, so I don't have anyone on Valentine's Day. But every single man that I know in this world always wish me a happy Valentine's Day. They don't bring me money or cards or gifts or flowers or all this stuff. It's just happy Valentine's Day. And I'm not their woman. I'm just a woman. You know what I mean?
Well, Sunday coming is Valentine's Day. I'm not wishing no happy Valentine's Day. I love you now.
You better wish me a happy Valentine's Day Sunday. No, I want to get a text that say something.
I don't want to be fake and just tell you I love you just on Valentine's Day, then the next day be beating your butt and treat you.
You can tell me you love me every single day, but you have to say it on Valentine's Day.
No, I don't. I do not. And you should not require that. Here's another thing. Think about it. People be so stressed about dealing with stuff on Valentine's Day. You know this foolish thing goes on. Correct me, folks, if I'm wrong. Let's just say today is what? The 9th? You know Valentine's Day coming up.
Yep.
Oh, girl done told you, yeah, I expect this, and this, and this. You know old girl ain't been giving you no love. She be cussing you out when you come home. She been treating you all type of wrong. Y'all been in the pandemic this whole time. And she done got on your last doggone nerve.
Yeah, that might be an
Hold on, hear me out.
incident.
Hear me out. So here's the thing. At this point, you determine, oh, I'm not about to do Valentine's Day. I'm about to break up with this heifer. So that way I ain't got to be bothered. How many people you know that story? They break up that week or 2 weeks before because they know Valentine's Day coming and they ain't trying to spend no money. And then all that go on and I hate you and I hate you.
That's petty.
Hold on. They let it ride for about 4-5 days. Okay, Valentine's Day over now. I ain't got to worry about it. Let me go on, sneak on back up in here. Boy, I'm sorry. I was wrong. I miss you. I ain't mean to do all that. And
where's my Valentine's Day gift?
Huh?
That you got 50% off.
Huh?
I said, and where's my Valentine's Day gift that you got 50% off?
Oh, no, but we can go out later on. You know the tax money coming, so when the taxes come, we can go on and get it in.
As long as you make it up to me, we cool.
And see, and then there's that. Like I said, and you know that ain't just no story I done came out the blue with. You know people do that. Just like sometimes they wait till around Christmas time, like, oh, I ain't getting no Christmas present. I hate you, girl, blah, 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 blah. And they wait for Christmas and then New Year's. And then about the 6th, they get on back like, I miss my baby and all that. Okay, what me saying? Hold on. I'm already giving your special treatment on your birthday, on Mother's Day, on Thanksgiving, on Christmas, on Halloween, on Easter. So what makes Valentine's Day more special than those days? And no, you mentioned all the major holidays where all the major money gets spent. Easter,
because they're holidays. They're not every day.
$multi-billion holidays because people are going out to buy all these extra things for these holidays, and they can turn around 2-3 days later and that stuff half off, 2 for $1, be all up in the dollar store with it, all of that. So just from an economic standpoint, it's a scam.
It's all about the thought, though. You have to stop making it about money. It's about the thought process.
But
if
that's
the only thing you want to do is run to the store and get some chocolates and stuff, it's no thought to that.
But see,
you know what I mean?
Point. You should be thoughtful like that every day with the person that you care about.
But it's not realistic to be thoughtful like that every day. Today is Valentine's Day. Today is a day you knew that was coming. Now, I get that, whatever their situation may be, and you see your woman / husband doing whatever they're doing to make things work in this house. I get that. You know what I mean? But today is a special day. We don't have to spend money that we've been working all week, to get on this special day, but you should make some time to spend with your Valentine. And then what about new couples? It's fun for new couples to go out and they're still, exploring their relationship and everything. I don't see anything wrong with any holiday except for Sweetest Day.
And now, of course, I got to go here with it. Then there's this part of it. You done went and did all these major, miraculous, super outlandish things for your loved one, and usually it's the guy that then did it for the girl. And then the girl's like I said, usually, as in the majority of the time. I'm not saying that everybody's like that, but then it comes to, okay, I did all this. What you gonna do for me? And of course, the girl usually tell you that same stuff. You can have some of this.
That is not a gift. I keep telling people that is not a gift.
That's my point.
Especially if you get it every day, all day. It's not a gift.
And so then, of course, because that's not a gift, and you be like, okay, I get it every all day. So what you gonna do extra for me? So then you usually dealing with situations like, okay, well, usually I don't do the little, so I'm gonna do that for you today since it's Valentine's Day. Why I gotta be like that?
Oh my God, I know you just did not go there.
Why I gotta be like that? I don't wait till Valentine's Day to do you. How you gotta wait till Valentine's Day to hook me up?
That's not true.
From the other end, or however y'all want to work it out. I don't want to get too deep into that part of it, but you know what I'm saying. Why all the stuff gotta wait till my birthday and Valentine's Day and Christmas, and you base it on what I done bought you and what have you?
I can't give you an answer.
Y'all out there? Anybody let me know. Let me know.
That would have to go to the individual. You know what I mean? But if you have somebody and you love somebody and it's Valentine's Day or Christmas or Thanksgiving when it's family time or whatever the case may be, I do not see a problem with showing a little bit of extra affection on a day that you know is coming up. Now, you do not have to make it like people do for Christmas and they buying 3 PlayStations and they doing this and they losing their mind because they got 15 nephews and nieces and don't know what to buy them and all this other stuff. It's a whole nother different concept. This is Valentine's Day. This is for the one you love. This is for your partner. You know what I mean?
Now, hold on. Meech has something to say to you. Barbara, you are contradicting the point. The point is money is being spent. Hold on. I'm going to read it again. Barbara, you are contradicting the point. The point is money is being spent unnecessarily. You support what we are saying. If it doesn't take money to make Valentine's Day special, then why is it so commercial? Exactly.
Well, because no matter what you do, somebody gonna try to figure out how to make money off of it. Now, if you decide to go into it and buy all of that stuff, that's on you. But if I know something is coming up and I know how to make little heart cupcakes, then yes, I'm gonna sell them for Valentine's Day.
Okay, and then of course, we have the new tradition here in America, which is the day after Valentine's Day, which people are starting to call side chick. The the sad chick day. Or basically, because you had to spend Valentine's Day with your boo, now your little sad piece, you look out for them the next day so that they don't feel slighted. What about that, Barbara?
That's just sad all the way around. That's just, I can't even give that a comment, because if the day after Valentine's Day is side chick day or side guy day,
So the players and pimpets,
that's pimp action. And you should buy me something because you cheating on me and I deserve to get something. So yes, you better buy me something. Now I want a fur coat. Now I want you to spend some money on me. Yes.
So the players and pimpets, they got to come out of extra money too.
That's what you get for cheating.
Saying side chicks get the half off ish.
Right.
True. You know how they do it. Player. But anyway, yeah, this has been quite a show.
Yes, it has.
Yep, but before we go, of course, I got to send shout outs to all my people in this beautiful thing that I call the Nighthawk Network, of which I am the COO. So shout out to all my partners in the game. Hey, bitches with Helena hologram, 9 p.m. Monday nights. As y'all know, Helena took yesterday off. She got some things she had to work out, but she'll be back next week with season 2. All new shows and promos. Looking forward to that. We got monumental moments in God's Word. Shout out to Dr. Facey. She was unable to join me this evening. She got a lot going on. Been very busy, but she definitely will take time out to do her Thursday show. And we will definitely be broadcasting that on Thursday for you. We got this T with Big Meech, who you've seen throughout the time. Thank you, Big Meech, for chiming in. We got Aunt Nikki, and we also got Big Red. Shout out to you, Big Red. Hopefully things are working out with the situation. You are still in our thoughts and prayers. We love you, brother. We also have Stan Mason behind the blue curtain Saturday, 11 a.m. I know we did not have a show for Stan last week, but he did do an extra show last night that I will post for you guys tomorrow, where he chimes in as he sometimes do. Just this good old Stan just checking on his people. So I'm going to have that for you guys tomorrow to check out. And hopefully next Saturday we'll be back on and popping. We got the interview series, Aunt Nikki's Let's Talk with Aunt Nikki. And, of course, we got Girl Stop Podcast with my cousin Lena Miller and her homegirl Letitia Williams-Howard. They will actually be on a show a few weeks from now. We're going to have both her and her co-hosts on to talk about the podcast and talk about what they do for a living and whatnot. I think you will find that to be a very good conversation. Please tune in. That's going to be the first week of March we had that show. And we got Pastor Love present. Shout out to you, Pastor Sean. He does his YouTube weekly broadcast, so you can be blessed and teaches you some important Bible lessons as only he can. And, of course, we got to Get Off My Lawn Dark Edition. We're going to do that one this Thursday, y'all. We're going to have our After Dark edition, and we're going to talk about a few things in regards to this Valentine's Day and some of the more intricate things that go on Valentine's Day. Some of them you might buy. I'm going to leave it at that. So y'all want to tune in about 10 o'clock on Thursday night. We're going to get into it, okay? Remember, put the kids to bed. That's going to be some grown folks talk. They don't need to hear all that. And, of course, tomorrow I got my show, Game Time Audible, with my fine co-host. That's one, Mr. Hugh Lee. Shout out to you, Hugh. We'll be on tomorrow night at 9 o'clock to talk our sports talk as we do. We're going to talk about the Super Bowl and what happened there and a couple key games that I saw this weekend and some other stuff that we talk about that's sports related. So we'll get into that. So that being said, y'all, we about to head on out of here. Like I said, we got Helena doing the actually got Derek doing the remix. He probably will get into that about 11 o'clock for you guys. So if you guys want to do that, as always, I will post that right there, the National Domestic Abuse Hotline. If you have any issues in regards to that, please call that number and get help if you can. We would appreciate that. So that being said, folks, we getting out of here. Thank you to Ms. Grant for doing the show.
Thank you for having me.
You are very welcome. I also want to thank Latrice and Chris for chiming in and giving us their perspective as educators. Thank you also, Dana, for calling. Thank you, Miss Brittany, for calling as well and giving us your perspective from what you got going on. Thank you.
And while you're giving everybody thank yous, can I give you a thank you and say thank you for doing this show? Thank you for informing the people. Thank you for doing the research. Thank you for introducing different people and different thoughts into everyone's head.
Thank you very much for that. I appreciate it. So, yeah, that being said, everybody's been thanked. It is time to head on out. This has been Get Off My Lawn Live. That is Miss Barbara Grant. Again, thank you. I am your boy, Eric Buck, and next Tuesday, we'll do it all again. Remember to remix with your boy, Derek. 11 o'clock. It'll be on the Nighthawk Network. Check it on out. Until then, y'all, you know how we do about this time. We out. Peace.